It's the Opperman Report. Join digital forensic investigator and PI Ed Opperman for an in-depth discussion of conspiracy theories, strategy of New World Order resistance, high-profile court cases in the news, and interviews with expert guests and authors on these topics and more. It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay, welcome to the Opperman Report, live Friday night, February 23rd, 2018. I'm your host, Private Investigator Ed Opperman, president of Opperman Investigations and Digital Forensic Consulting, and also emailrevealer.com. This show is brought to you by GetTheTea.com and LifeChangeTea.com. And it really is a life change tea. I just started taking this tea earlier this week. And from the first sip, I'm loving this tea. It's an herbal drink. It's really not a tea. And it's been helping me with weight loss and digestion and energy. I've been taking this I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning every day. And, normally those first 3 hours, like from 3 to 6, are just trying to get my act together. Just trying to wake up and get out of bed, get stuff going, drink a little. I don't have a coffee pot in my house, so I don't drink coffee till I get out of the house. I drink 1 cup of coffee a day. And so lately, after we made this tea, I just drink with the glass of tea, and I'm full of energy. I'm getting stuff done, crack of dawn, and my whole lower body feels less bloated. And people know that when I was on the Daniel fast, I was down to 210 pounds, and I'm right now I'm at 210 pounds without doing the Daniel fast. So I really believe that this time when I start the Daniel fast, I'm going to start again soon. I'm going to be able to knock that down to less than get back down to like 200, 190, which I think is my best weight. Okay, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for listening. And I got to tell you, the time when I'm live on the air or recording a show is really, even though sometimes it can be stressful, it really is in so many ways. It's the happiest hour or 2 hours of my week, because it's almost like being on vacation, because people can't bother me, they can't interrupt me, they can't annoy me, all these people coming to me for help, and all this and I get to spend this time just creating, and speaking out loud and talking, interviewing people, asking questions, and enjoying conversation with someone, and it really is the happiest, the most pleasurable time of my week. So I can't thank you enough for making this possible for me and allowing me to do this every week. My audience out there, I never dreamed in my whole life we'd have an audience this big, so many people listening to the show and being so interactive and engaged with the show. It really is cool. I got some new headphones, and they're really good. These are really good headphones, some Behringer headphones here. So kind of feels a little different talking to you. Okay, let's see what's going on. Tomorrow, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we're going to have a show with Kate Boyce, who is the wife of Christopher Boyce, who was the Falcon in The Falcon and the Snowman, that movie with Sean Penn. I forget who the guy was in the movie, but he was a good actor too. So, we have her for the first hour, and it's a great show. She's a very interesting woman in her own right. A leftist lawyer, helping people get out of prison, stuff like that, We're talking about the Leonard Peltier case. So I'm going to have her back if I can. If she's willing to come back. because the show kind of went a little haywire to the middle. It kind of went a little crazy there. Oh, the second part of the show is Kristen Beck, who you might know as the Navy SEAL, the former Navy SEAL, who is a transgender now, and he's known as he used to be Christopher Beck, was a Navy SEAL, and now he's a former Navy SEAL, but now he's Kristen Beck. He's a transgendered, transitioned to woman. I don't know how far the transition's got. It was kind of difficult interviewing good old Kristen, okay? Because, you'd ask him a question, and she would go all around the whole block, all over the place. And then my Skype cut out, and thank God Kate and Kristen just had a conversation while I was off the air. Almost gave up. I didn't think I can get back on the air. I was just going to give up and just record something else. But thank God I came back on the air. But it really didn't matter because he asked him a question, and he just goes off on his own thing. Wasn't really listening to my questions. But I think it's a good quality show. And you know me. I'll tell you, if it's a crappy show, I'll tell you. Now, one of the things that comes out in this show that blows my mind, and even you can hear it live when I'm talking about this live on air, it just blows my mind, is that because I watched that movie Falcon and the Snowman like 10, 15, 20 times, and I interviewed Vince Vaughn, the co-author of the book American Sons, and I did a lot of research. The first time I did a lot of research on that story. And there's some things that raise questions in my head. But one thing that comes out in this interview that's going to be airing tomorrow that blows my mind is that the company that this guy, where is this thing? Did I post it? Here we go. When you watch that movie, right, and Christopher Boyce, the Falcon, in The Falcon and the Snowman, and he goes to work at this company, and he has to go through these security, and it's implied, that he's working for the CIA, right? Spy satellites and intelligence gathering and top secret information. And I watched the movie many times, and I researched the story when I interviewed Vince Vaughn. And what do we find out? That the company he was working for was TRW. Yeah. That TRW, the credit reporting agency from the 70s that later changed their name and became TransUnion or I think it became TransUnion. But TRW was a credit reporting agency. And I find out from this interview with Kate Boyce that, they were the credit reporting agency, but also, too, they had satellites and they had it. I said, whoa. And they were... Boyce was charged with releasing CIA information. And if you look up TRW, you're not going to find anything about the CIA. They do mention on Wikipedia, they do mention the Boyce case. The Falcon and the Snowman case. Let me scroll down. John Boyce, a TRW employee, was convicted of selling security secrets to the Soviet Union. But nowhere else is it mentioned that the TRW was a CIA operation. Unless you Google TRW CIA and everything comes up about Christopher Boyce, the Falcon and the Snowman. It comes out that way. Otherwise, it's all covered up. Now, you know me, I got a lot of experience with credit reporting agencies, In fact, my company was a credit reporting agency, and we had to obey and follow all the guidelines and the rules and the protocols and the laws that apply to the big three major credit reporting agencies. Even though we could not collect credit information and resell it, we had to buy their credit information and resell it. And there's only three companies, the three major credit reporting agencies, and they have a monopoly on this for some reason. We're supposed to live in a capitalist society, right? But these three companies are the only ones that are allowed to collect credit reporting information and resell it. No one else is allowed to do that. I can't even do it, for if I have a business, that has a lot of credit accounts. I can't say, well, this guy, was a deadbeat. Let me report it. You can't do that. Only these 3 companies can do it. And now we found out that at least one of them is CIA. How do you like that? Now, for me, that's mind-blowing. Because I'm into all this kind of stuff. That's, I'm a nerd. Whatever you call it. But then when you go to Wikipedia, you look up TRW, you find out that not only were they a credit reporting agency, but they had satellites and aerospace, automotive. They built the Pioneer 1 and the Pioneer 10 spacecraft. What the heck? That they were involved. The people from TRW, persons coming from TRW, were important to build up corporations like SpaceX. They were involved with the Atlas missile launches, Mercury astronauts into orbit. They developed the Titan missile. What the heck is going on? The Gemini missions. What the heck is going on with these guys at TRW? Clearly, an unreported or underreported CIA front operation involved with the secret space. No, not the secret, but the kind of phony, land on the moon fake space program, and involved in all this other stuff. Fascinating that we would have that the fake. Oh, get this! Remember how I always talk about the Apollo lunar lander? They built that. They built all this stuff that's so suspicious and all kinds of, that deserves someone to really dig in there, man, and look around, see what's going on with this TRW. And it's always suspicious to me too how these credit reporting agencies constantly change their names and come up with new names. Because TRW, I think, became TransUnion, but it doesn't say that here in Wikipedia. We have to look into all this. It's been some time really looking into it. So that's the show tomorrow. Falcon the Snowman. Then we have Kristen Beck, former Navy SEAL. Now, one thing on the news all over the place, everybody can't stop talking about it. They're obsessed with it. Is let's debate the gun laws. Let's debate the let's arm the teachers. Let's arm the teachers. Oh my God! Let me pull this up over here. I got a whole thing. The irony that teachers legally can't spank kids. And they can't even, the NEA advises, don't get in the middle of 2 kids fighting. If 2 kids are having a fist fight, teachers, don't get in the middle. Let them fight it out. Try and diffuse the situation, but don't get in the middle because lawsuits, oh my God. So teachers can't spank a kid. They can't spank a kid. Okay, when I was a kid, I went to school and teachers spanked us. But here we are in 2018, teachers are not allowed to spank a kid. They can't break up fights. They can't, because they got lawsuits. But now we're going to arm them, and they're going to shoot to kill. Am I the only one that thinks that's insane? They had this thing, President Mr. Trump holds this town hall thing down there in Florida with Betty DeVos, who is the sister of the Blackwater mercenary guy who is he's being sued right now, and some of the people suing him say he's a murderer and he's been killing witnesses, and the judge allowed them to file this lawsuit anonymously. John Doe lawsuits. The judge took their story seriously enough that they allowed them to continue this lawsuit, John Doe anonymous, that Eric Prince is a murderer. And his sister, Betty DeVos, is sitting there, and she's going to hold court on school shootings and murders. with President Mr. Trump, you see his notes in his hand there. I hear you. Mr. Trump, wipe away a tear at 10:45 seconds. But anyway, he has this chaotic town hall listening meeting there. And all these kids stand up, and he comes up with this plan. They're going to arm teachers. This lunatic. They're passing around this microphone with a bunch of wackos and nut jobs, all coming up with it, making their speeches and crying and, and all this stuff. Anyway, plan is they're going to arm teachers now. I'm telling you. Now, we had a situation here at my daughter's school here in Henderson. It was either last year or the year before, where a former student came into the school, walked into one of the classrooms, a little kid, He was a high school graduate, 18 years old, came back into the school and sat on a teacher's desk while the teacher was teaching a class and just sat there and started acting goofy. So they called the police, they took the kid away, unarmed, nothing. But after that, they decided they're gonna have an armed security guard at the front in the parking lot. And this was so disruptive and so unsettling, okay, to have this armed guy who was a little weird, a little too involved with little kids and their lives. Okay, and he's not there now because so many people complained about it. But my daughter was upset why is there a guy there with a gun in front of my school? For another kid who walked into the school, unarmed kid that I could beat up myself if I had a problem with him. We had a guy out in front with a gun and a bulletproof vest every morning when we're walking to the school. If we bring in either cops, we see cops, there's a trend of cops shooting unarmed people. It's increasing year by year by year by year. Police shooting of unarmed people, okay, and they get away with it because they're in fear for their lives. So now we're going to put them into our schools so they can shoot an unarmed child and say, well, I was in fear for my life. Or we're going to arm teachers. And let's say the best scenario that the nut jobs can come up with is that a shooter comes in. Guy comes in with his AR-15, his assault rifle. He comes in. Okay, teacher got his gun. Teacher's a well-trained teacher. Former military, former police officer, former Navy SEAL. Kristen Beck, let's say, becomes a teacher. Got his gun. Her gun. Shooter comes in with his AR-15, starts spraying the place. Ba, 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 ba. Right? Teacher whips out his weapon, her weapon. Fires back. Ba, 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 ba. Now, this is I don't know how many you people have been in a combat situation, but here's a situation. You got a bunch of kids and teachers running every direction, slamming doors, hitting the deck. You don't think any innocent bystanders are going to get hit in that situation? I think a couple will. You hear the expression crossfire? Okay? When you're in a situation, you got a bunch of guys with guns going into a situation. You look around to the other guys and say, hey, guys, watch the crossfire. Okay? And you kind of position yourself that you're not in between one of your buddies with their guns and the enemy and their guns. Okay? Because one of your buddies will shoot right through you to get the other guys. Okay? Because there's always a one whacked out guy spraying his gun like a nut. Adrenaline starts pumping, you start shooting away. Bang, 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 bang. I gotta pull my trigger. Right? So crossfire is one consideration. Friendly fire into my kid's head. All right, Mr. Teacher? Or Miss Beck. Now, another consideration is, I'm a teacher, right? There's a threat in my school. I'm going to whip out my revolver here, my clock. Right? Right? Now, when the cops show up, they'll look for a guy with a gun in his hand. Okay? They're looking for a guy to shoot. Right? Now, I'm gonna take that chance that I know there's a bunch of cops showing up with guns, trigger-happy cops and Henderson cops, and they're shooting people with canes. And I'm going to take a chance that, of course not. I had a guest on this show. Okay? Clark County school teacher. And there was an incident where was raining out, and the cars were going by, and one of the kids was running out into traffic with wet streets, and she put her arm out to stop this kid from running out into the street, to stop him, save the kid's life. And the police came, and they read her rights. Miss Tisha, you have the right to remain silent. Okay. Because, you touched this kid, and you restrained him, and you prevented him from crossing the street. So we're going to read you your rights because you're in trouble. Well, tell us what happened now. Okay? That's reality, folks. That's what goes on in real life. These teachers aren't going to... The NEA guidelines say don't break up fights. If two kids are fighting, don't get in the middle. So we're going to throw all that out of years because President Mr. Trump and his ball spot sat down with a murderer's sister, okay, a killer's sister, a mercenary killer's sister, sat down with a bunch of kids, and and he came up with an idea off the cuff, fed to him by these nuts in the NRA. But I used to be an NRA member, but now the NRA is talking about, well, we have to arm up to fight liberals. It's the liberals and the socialists we got to fight. They're coming right out and saying it. President Mr. Trump comes up with this plan. He says, what we're going to do is we're going to pass laws to strengthen, we're going to fix the background checks. The NICS. The bill is called Fix NICS. NICS stands for National Instant Criminal Background Check System. They put it in after Brady got shot, after Reagan got shot. Now, I'm in the background check business, okay? I've been in the business where I did 6,000 background checks a year, okay? I know a little bit about it. I taught a class on background checks to be compliant with the federal, the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Taught a class about it. By the way, I'm going to be giving a real speech coming up and teaching a real class to lawyers and accountants in California, family court lawyers and accountants, about asset search investigations, okay? I'm getting back on my feet here. I've been contacted by a documentary filmmaker, too, as well. Getting back into reality. Okay, a little less nonsense, a little more reality. I'm in the background check business. Let me tell you something. The NICS, the National Instant Criminal Background Check System, the NICS, is not the best background report out there. Okay, the way to do it, I've told you many times, talked about it on the phone, I've written many articles, is you find out someone, every county they've lived in, you do a county-by-county search to look up court records and criminal records and find out if they've been arrested, have been convicted, what went on in each county. Instant background check is crap. It's garbage. 25% accurate. Now, this new law that President Mr. Trump is proposing is that nothing new. Okay, nothing new to how we gather and report criminal records, but that just that hey, the background check, you got to do everything the way we told you to do. You have to enforce. We're gonna pass a law to enforce you to actually follow all the rules we've laid down in the NICS. Now, there's glaring problems with the NICS the way it is right now. And that is the military doesn't really report dishonorable discharges to the system. Illegal. If they do this NICS background search on you, right, and it doesn't come back within 3 days, they can legally sell you the gun. Even if you're a criminal, you got a domestic violence conviction, got a felony, doesn't matter. Legally, they can do it. I told you last week that if you're a felon and you try and buy a gun and it pops up, you get denied the gun, only 8% of those people are arrested. The rest, nothing happens to them. Okay? So there's all these problems with the NICS background search. Now, I have access to that database. Okay. Those NICS instant criminal background check searches are available on the black market. You could buy them. Okay, if I want to do a background check on somebody, let's say Sean McKay, my new audio engineer over there in Ireland, if I want to do a background check, I can use NICS to do a background check. But I don't bother because I have my own method that works better. The way I do a check on somebody is better than that. Okay. Now, if what is being proposed is that we're going to use juvenile records and add that to the NICS, or we're going to add in mental health records and hospital records and medical records into that, and say, well, someone's been examined psychiatrically and they have depression, they're suicidal, and we're going to add that into there. Well, let me tell you something, pal. Okay? If you don't think I'll have access to that, I can get that. I know I can. And investigators and people in this kind of business that have nowhere the kind of experience that I have can get that. Because it's easy to do. So, if your medical records, okay, out there, let's say those people that are stalking me all the time. There's a lot of people out here that stalk me, okay, listen to this show week after week. And you psychos with your medical records and your mental illnesses, right, and all your problems, which are well documented. Even if you never go to buy a gun, right, I'll have access to that information. Because the way it'll work is, I'll pay a guy and we'll pretend that you're going to buy a gun, and then we'll get access to your records, and you'll be denied because of this reason. And we'll see it. We'll have that information. It'll be up for sale. Your psychiatric information. Even if you're a libtard and a liberal and a whatever and a leftist, right? And you don't want to buy a gun, your information's going to be in that database, and I'll have access to it. I can get it if I want it. It's not illegal, but it can be done. And that brings up a whole other thing, too, about how somehow people think they're leftists or anti-gun. Real leftists, real leftists, like guns, want guns, need guns, and understand the importance of guns. Okay? I don't know what you guys are thinking. I posted this thing about the irony of that teachers can't legally spank kids and have to be super careful. And some guy starts posting all this stuff. Well, Ed, what is this crazy stuff he posted? That, well, Ed, I guess a gun-free zone is going to solve all that. Like, I've never used the expression gun-free zone in my life. And then he said, well, no, let's just ban all the guns. I'm not talking about banning guns. I'm not for banning guns. But people are so programmed and so triggered with this gun argument that people think I'm anti-gun. I spent my life, there was a period of time in my life when I carried 2 guns 24 hours a day. And where when I had to leave and walk out in the public, I had to wear a Kevlar vest. Okay, because real live issues in my life. And you're going to tell me I'm anti-gun? Hey, let's take a commercial break. I need a break from life. I need a break from... Oh, God, Zooks. I need a break. Give me a break. Give me a break. Break me off a piece today.
And now a word from our sponsors.
People are waking up. They're standing up to those pushing pesticides and GMOs as safe alternatives for a starving world. What a bunch of crap! I tell you, I'd rather eat dirt. So, I drink Life Change Tea. It's an herbal drink, cleansing my body of toxic sludge and nasty chemicals, and of course, ridding the intruders that are hidden in my so-called food. And by the way, Life Change Tea is non-GMO and organic. No fillers, no yuck. Just a great defense against you-know-what. May the supplement force awaken you. Don't fall to the dark side. Oh, Sorry, I went to the movies last night. Anyway, enough said. How do you get that herbal drink and change your life? GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. You will awaken, you will get stronger, and you might even lose a bit of weight. So awaken to Life Change Tea and the many one-of-a-kind supplements at GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. May the supplement force be with you.
The Opperman Report is brought to you by SubhashTechnosis.com. Subash Technosis is a search engine optimization and website design company located in India. So you know you're going to save a lot of money and get top quality service to boot. They offer all kinds of services, business process outsourcing, data entry, banking BPO services, recruitment process outsourcing, software testing, offshore research networking, customer care, press release content writing and distribution, and much, much more. They offer website development, e-commerce solutions, mobile responsive designs. Now, I've personally worked with Subhash for over 10 years. This is the man that puts out my press releases. They've done work on my websites, so I can personally recommend SubhashTechnosis.com. You can find the link to Subash Technosis at OppermanReport.com and also AwakeRadio.us. Remember, all these shows on Awake are brought to you by EmailRevealer.com. You can go to EmailRevealer.com and get a copy of my book, How to Become a Successful Private Investigator. You also do all the kind of different services for you. Online dating service investigations called an online infidelity investigation. And that's where you give us your husband or your boyfriend, your girlfriend's email address, and we trace it back to their online dating websites. And we return a list of all the dating sites that email is registered to. And all kinds of digital forensics, computer and cell phone digital forensics, where we can recover deleted content from an email or a hard drive and produce a report for you that you can use in court. That's emailrevealer.com, or you can contact me at oppermaninvestigations@gmail.com.
Okay, welcome back. Let me stop that there. Welcome back to the Opperman Report. I am your host, Private Investigator Ed Opperman. Oh, boy. You know, it took some time this week. I did all that on my notes, but that whole half hour. Okay. Really good. I got an interview coming up with Lily Starling. I taped an hour with this young lady. I love her. And she is an insider. She was an admin for many of the Bernie Sanders Facebook groups. And she has exclusive information about the Russian bots who tried to sign up for the group. And they came up with a list, of troll groups and bot groups and stuff like that. And she really points the finger, though, at David Brock and correct the record, okay, as being behind a lot of this Russian bot stuff. Okay? That's a good show. We taped a lot of content this week. I'm taping tomorrow, too, with T.H. Johnson. I'm taping out on Monday a show about the Anon brothers with that lieutenant colonel guy you see all the time on Fox News. I forget his name off the top of my head. Got a lot of good stuff coming up, guys. I taped a lot of content in the past weeks. I got this guy about gambling stuff, how to become a full-time professional gambler on sports wagering. It kind of goes all over the place, but it's still good content. Got a lot of stuff in the can. We're getting ahead of the game here. But this Lily Starling, man, that's a great show. So keep an eye out on that. So I spent some time this week. I read some of these crazy things about QAnon. QAnon, the special Q top security clearance Q guy who's releasing all this information on 4chan and Reddit and all this shit. Oh, my God. So I found a website that has all the QAnon postings from start to finish in order. And when you sit down and you read this crap from this nut, way back, man, when he first started out, he's announcing that in 7 days Hillary's about to be arrested and all this stuff. Nothing ever happens. Then he's talking in this crazy code. Okay? But then suddenly he'll stop posting in crazy code. No, he has to post in crazy code, okay? And hints and clues, because there's spiders and bots out there that'll pick up his words and they'll shut him down, whatever. Then he claims there's only 10 people on the whole face of the planet that have the same security clearance as him and can, and can verify him or vouch for him. Just imagine. Then he comes out. Okay. Wait, first he has to talk in code, but then he'll post a message in perfectly straight English, a whole paragraph of why didn't he have to? How come bedtime? You can talk normal. All the other times he has to talk this, and he's releasing these codes, and oh my God, who can fall for this? Then he comes out with this stuff about a week or two after the Las Vegas shooting. Comes out with this Saudi Arabia theory that somehow this is connected to Saudi Arabia, and the whole Four Seasons Hotel levitates and lands on top of the Mandalay Bay. All this crazy nonsense. Now, he's not the first guy to come out with that, because I was very intimately involved in the day by day what went on here in Las Vegas. So he's definitely, going back now, I can go through my notes and my emails and stuff like that. He is absolutely not the first guy to come up with that theory. He read that theory on the internet. 100% I can guarantee, I could testify in court that he read that theory first on the internet, and then he posted about it in his dumps in his secure blah, blah, blah. Crapola. So that discredits him right there. First of all, this stuff, Hillary's about to be arrested in 7 days. Nothing happens. The stuff about Las Vegas shooter, nothing happens. But the thing that most concerns me about this QAnon stuff is that basically what he's saying and what he's calling for is a military coup. He's saying that the people behind Trump and in the cabinet, they're all military intelligence, and they're the ones that are our saviors and protecting us. They're the white knights, and they're our only hope. And what we should be praying for and hoping for, pray, God bless America, pray hard, because we're fighting in a TikTok and all this crap. But what he's hoping for, and his fans, his sick fans are hoping for, is a military takeover of this government. That they want a military dictatorship in the United States of America. And they're typing, oh, Q, thank you so much. Tell us what to do. We're waiting to fight with you. We've got our arms, and we're armed with our AR-15s, and we're ready to back you up. Tell us what to do. When should we strike? Any day now. The time is short. Those are the people who need to have their guns taken away from them. People that are first of all, are so gullible and stupid to fall for this crap. They could be nothing more obviously bogus than QAnon. And this whole LARPing nonsense BS. There's nothing more obvious. And these characters, armed to the teeth, stroking their weapons as they're reading this stuff, typing away with one hand, stroking with the other hand. Buying into this. We're armed, and we're ready to support a military takeover of our government here, of our democracy. Throw it all away. That's where we are. That's where we are today, guys. That's where we are. Now, I'm a little extra frazzled, a little extra turned upside down, a little extra crazy this week. That's why I didn't get any chance to talk about these new indictments and guilty pleas that came out today. I didn't get a chance to read any of it. I couldn't even find the actual filings. Usually, I post about it, and there's a crazy day. The carpet. Here's what happened. Very early on in the week, I had an ex-girlfriend had a problem, in her home with her new partner, and there was a big beef going on, and she called me up, and I went down there and scooped her up, and I got her out of there, and I brought her back to this place here, and she's been crashing on the couch, which is a disruption enough, in my life. And she's real tiny. It's like not really 100 pounds. Okay, so she's on the couch. There's plenty of room on the couch for her, this little tiny little girl. And but what happens is that the dishwasher floods. I get a leak in the dishwasher, and I made the mistake of calling up the apartment complex here, and they got this whole thing about mold and floods and water and damage, blah, blah, blah. And they come down and they rip up the carpets, and they bring in these big giant blower. And my couch weighs a ton. I can't move this couch by myself now with this hernia. I got this hernia now. So my whole house and life is disrupted. The girl can't sleep here on the couch because it's all moved, and the carpets are all torn up, and these blowers are blowing in my living room. Okay, so thank God we found a safe place to go to. But still, it's a huge disruption. And then they're scheduled to come down today to replace the carpet and shampoo the carpet, but they had the shampoo people come down. They didn't find the padding for the carpet. The whole day's wasted. Chaos upside down, because this apartment complex here is a disaster. So my whole life is turned upside down with this stuff. And I couldn't even look up the Manafort letter that came out, and the Gates plea bargain, and the new charges against Manafort. A lot of great stuff came out today that I would like to talk to you about, but I don't have the time. And it doesn't help things either. When everyone wants my constant attention. And I just don't get it. I don't bother anybody. I certainly don't message people like 10 times in one day. But for some reason, people just, demand my attention. So, I gotta tell you, thank God for this tea, this getthetea.com, because it really has, given me extra energy this week and more, I feel less bloated. My whole lower half of my body is lighter, and I'm back in shape. Even, when you have too much red wine and your poop is black the next day, that's, you can look that up. That happens to everybody. And even that, it's not happening. So thank God. This is really getting me out from a dump, a low. It's improving the quality of my life, and I just hope that this guy will keep sending me this tea for free, because otherwise, I really like it. And even when you smell it the next day, and you pour your glass the next day and you smell it, it's like your body wants it. You're eager to have it. So I'm trying to. 55 years old, and I got this hernia, so I can't work out as much as I could in my my normal life. And I'm trying to enjoy the simple things in life, to bring some peace and some art and some creativity and some beauty into my life, and everyone knows about me doing a Daniel fast and stuff like that. Daniel fast, if you're not familiar, it's 21 days. It's from the Bible. And you cut out all bread and rice and meat and fish and coffee and caffeine and alcohol and sugar. And you live a Spartan life for 21 days, just fruit, nuts, and vegetables, water, beans, and you feel great, man. You come out of that. You're cleansed. You feel really good. And I've done it for 6 months in a row. The Daniel fast. Felt great. But I couldn't get down below 210 pounds. Remember that? So, now I'm totally vegan. And I have one little pleasure, guilty pleasure in life. And I drink some wine, a little potato juice every now and then. Right? But no sugar, though. But my one pleasure in life is, I wake up in the morning and I pick up I get in my car and I go get one cup of coffee. It's a large cup of coffee, dark roast with almond milk. And then I'll swing back. I'll stop by the bagel store. And I'll pick up a couple of bagels. And an avocado. And I'll smear the avocado on the bagel. I come home and I drink the coffee. Sometimes I'll get some orange juice. And that's my guilty pleasure, you know. So now I'm cutting out that bread. I'm going to cut out that bread, too. No more bagel for me. And I've been eating fruit this week. Since I started with the tea, I'm just eating fruit. So what I like to do is, you know, sit down and have a cup of coffee with, you know, these young artists and stuff like that I know and people I support in the arts and, you know, these young models and stuff. You know, I like to be around that kind of beauty, that young beauty, that you know, and creative people. You know, so I like to pop into these little coffee shops and make these little appointments, these little dates and stuff. And another thing I'm liking to do right now is I talked about it too, is the sports clips. Where I go to sports clips, this barbershop where they you know, they give you a haircut, but what they do too is they shampoo your head and they give you a massage in your head, and they put this hot towel over your face, and then after that they got to get a vibrator and they vibrate massage your shoulders and your neck and stuff like that. And if you then you get a haircut and you do that, right? But you can go back between haircuts and get a free trim. They'll clean your neck and they'll clean around your ears and stuff like that. And you could pay another $7 and get the massage and the hot towel and all that kind of stuff and the massage. And I'm really trying to, you know, I'm 55 years old. I want to enjoy my life and have a little peace and quiet. You know, I enjoy myself when I'm on the air. And I'm enjoying these little kinds of indulgences that I can do, that I can afford to do. I can't afford to take a trip to Spain or whatever, right? At this stage of my life, but I can afford to do these kind of little guilty pleasures, you know. And this tea, it's called Life Change Tea. You can go to www.lifechangetea.com, and I can really tell you, it really is a life change. From the first sip I took of this stuff, I'm feeling so good. And what I'm going to try and do next is get in some of these essential oils, you know, because I'm hearing about how they benefit you too as well. I'm going to try some of that. And even too, some of these quartz crystals and geodes and stuff like that, you see. I've always been very sensitive to that stuff, you know, and I hear there's certain benefits to that as well. And I have a friend of mine that takes these things, the big ones. She buys the big geodes and puts them in her baby's room and stuff. So I'm very sensitive. I can feel that stuff. When I'm around that, I can feel it, you know. I can feel the energy coming off. So I'm going to try and do some of that too as well. All these different things here. They're just trying to give myself a little extra pleasure in my life. From all the, when you hear the show, we're talking tomorrow with Kate Boyce and Kristen Beck about PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, and all the crap I got to go through and stuff and deal with here. And, you know, I got a long letter from someone telling me, well, Ed, you know, your PTSD probably originates from your divorce and custody. I don't know if people are aware that I have full custody of my kid. You know, me and my kid, we're safe now. We're good. That part's good. We're fine. You know, we won that. You know, that was successful. That was the fight of my life, and I've been through a lot of big fights, but that, you know, we're through that. That's over. And that's not what's causing these issues right now. That was a rough time, yeah. Man, let me tell you, we had no cars, walking, limping, you know. But the big issues are these clients I have who are so desperate for help. I got a guy right now who's screwed up his case, you know, and he's going to go to prison, you know. And it's not going to go well for him when he goes to prison because of certain reasons, you know. You try and help these people. And they think they got their own ideas and they make deals on the side and do their own stuff, you know, and you get them a good deal. And then they screw up and their paperwork looks obvious and they're facing trouble, you know. Anyway, what are you going to do? Listen, we're out of time. We're out of time. I'm out of patience, out of energy. If you enjoyed tonight's show, we got great new content in the members section. And there's even more going up. I was advertising on a show by Rupert, here's Rupert Quaintance, right, like that. So I, about his situation with the Hampstead people and all that nonsense, that craziness. So I did a show with him. Someone asked me, hey, can you interview Rupert, get his story out? So I said, okay, I'll do that for you. And I interviewed Rupert. And then, anyway, he didn't like the interview. He started complaining and whining and crying. So I put it up in the member section. It's called Lost Episode. There's another one going up there, too, about what happens in Vegas. A lot of people contact me. Hey, I interviewed this guy. What happened in Vegas? I interviewed him before the movie even came out. I interviewed him a year ago. Okay? I'm on the cusp of this stuff, guys. I'm ahead of the game here. The Opperman Report. But anyway, he started whining about he didn't like the way people were talking to him in the chat room. So, and I pulled the show down. I said, okay, fine. No promotion for you. It's in the member section. So a lot of great content in the member section. I'm going to start doing some shows, too, in the member section where I just do solo monologues in there, too, because people really seem to like that. It's like a lot of stories I could tell you about. I want to tell you a story about when me and my dad used to go to Yankee Stadium when I was a kid. And they would, after they tore down the stadium, we used to go there while they were under construction, stuff like that. A lot of great stories from my childhood, I want to tell you. Anyway, so I'm going to put that stuff in the member section as well. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Working on a lot of good stuff for you, as always. If you want to become a member and you want to email me directly, because it's the end of the month, this is when we need the money. I'll give you 13 months for $60. You PayPal me direct at oppermanreport@gmail.com. You send me a little email. I send you a PayPal invoice. Pay me $60. It sets you up for 13 months in the member section. There's documents in there. There's court docs. There's pictures. There's all kind of stuff. Great stuff in there. Videos. OppermanReport.com. All right. I'm done. Next coming up is Pierce Redmond, Porkins Policy. I don't like his music. I got to be honest. I don't like his intro music. Porkins. He listens to the show. I better be nice. But anyway. The great Pierce Redmond coming up next.
And now a word from our sponsors.
People are waking up. They're standing up to those pushing pesticides and GMOs as safe alternatives for a starving world. What a bunch of crap! I tell you, I'd rather eat dirt. So I drink Life Change Tea. It's an herbal drink, cleansing my body of toxic sludge and nasty chemicals, and of course, ridding the intruders that are hidden in my so-called food. And by the way, Life Change Tea is non-GMO and organic. No fillers, no yuck. Just a great defense against you-know-what. May the supplement force awaken you. Don't fall to the dark side. Sorry. I went to the movies last night. Anyway, enough said. How do you get that herbal drink and change your life? GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. You will awaken. You will get stronger, and you might even lose a bit of weight. So awaken to Life Change Tea and the many one-of-a-kind supplements at GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. May the supplement force be with you.
The Opperman Report is brought to you by SubashTechnosis.com. Subash Technosis is a search engine optimization and website design company located in India. So you're going to save a lot of money and get top quality service to boot. They offer all kinds of services, business process outsourcing, data entry, banking BPO services, recruitment process outsourcing, software testing, offshore research networking, customer care, press release content writing and distribution, and much, much more. They offer website development, e-commerce solutions, mobile responsive designs. Now, I've personally worked with Subash for over 10 years. This is the man that puts out my press releases. They've done work on my websites, so I can personally recommend SubashTechnosis.com. You can find the link to Subash Technosis at OppermanReport.com and also AwakeRadio.us. Remember, all these shows on Awake are brought to you by EmailRevealer.com. You can go to EmailRevealer.com and get a copy of my book, How to Become a Successful Private Investigator. You also do all the kind of different services for you. Online dating service investigations called an online infidelity investigation. And that's where you give us your husband or your boyfriend, your girlfriend's email address, and we trace it back to their online dating websites. And we return a list of all the dating sites that email is registered to, and all kinds of digital forensics, computer and cell phone digital forensics, where we can recover deleted content from an email or a hard drive and produce a report for you that you can use in court. That's emailrevealer.com, or you can contact me at oppermaninvestigations@gmail.com.